And we are live. Coach Chris from the Anthill. Got an awesome guest here with us. Izzy is back. How you doing today?
Happy to be back. I'm great. I'm excited to be back here.
Awesome. We're always excited to have you. And we've got some Marvel Rivals action going on here. About to kick off here shortly. USC Sumter going against Texas A&M. Did I say Kingsville? I think campus. Don't know much about them. I think they're, decent players. As you can
hmm
look at kind of the stat line here. As far as on paper, everybody's ranks and such. Fire Ant's kind of at that diamond, high diamond setup. They do have a Celestial and a Grandmaster on the other side, but I know some of our players have been Celestial in the past too, so it's going to be interesting overall. Uh, it will test us, I guess. Not sure the record from the other team, but USC Sumter
hmm
going into this, I think 3-0. This is week no 2-0. This is week 4, but they had a first round bye. What do you expect to see tonight?
I'm expecting to see a lot of what we've seen from Sumter before. Obviously, I took last week off of shoutcasting, but from the previous weeks, I saw a lot of improvement since last season, especially in terms of team comp and things like that. We're definitely trying out having a little bit more DPS, so I think we're going to be continuing that sort of pattern now. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm really excited to see some, amazing old stuff here, but I'll be really interested and keen to see sort of the comp that A&M chooses here, especially as we've seen before. We saw a lot of Jeff the Landshark maybe getting banned, things like that, which was a really interesting character that came into play last time I did shoutcasting here. So definitely looking out for those bans and picks, but and also, triple support has been the meta we've seen this season. Last season, we saw a lot of Luna and Invisible Woman and Cloak and Dagger being sort of like the main supports, but now it's actually just like the three support setup. So I'll be interested to see if either one of our teams go with that currently, just basing like off the meta and things like that as well. So those are the things I'm looking out for. But what about you, Coach Chris? Like, what do you think we're gonna be seeing tonight?
I'm not 100% sure. I know I went in there and talked to the team, just to give them a little, hey, let's go kind of thing, get the W, and just kind of talked through or listened to them talk through
hmm
kind of what their plans were for some bands and the what ifs and such. I think they had a decent idea of some of the players, but some of the players are also kind of private with their accounts, so you don't necessarily always know what you're up against.
hmm
So they have a little bit more knowledge of what they want to do here. So it's also going to depend on if this happens, kind of thing, and that should kind of tell us, how they adjust.
hmm
Um, so not 100% sure what to expect right out the gate, but I think they have a plan for if something doesn't work, let's try this. I think we will see Captain back.
Awesome. Hopefully Lee gets to play that Hulk this season. I remember he would have to go with the thing quite a lot with bands, but we'll see here in a second. I think honestly everything kind of about strategy and things we can talk about that we're excited to see honestly comes based off of the first map. The first map is where we're going to see those bins and those picks and how each team plays. So I think after this is like when we get a lot of insight onto how the rest of the game is going to go. But I'll be really interested to see like straight off the bat sort of what the bans are. I think Penny was a super interesting ban to start off with on domination especially, but definitely not a bad move considering her mines and her pylons and all that type of stuff can be really helpful on defense here.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see. Like you said,
hmm
the pick bands will kind of tell us what to expect. USC Sumter is in the orange this time around.
hmm
So that will give, us an idea. First band coming out with the
hmm
penny, as you
Punisher
mentioned.
save here.
Punisher save is interesting.
Looks like we're gonna be running maybe like an anti-dive type of team comp by banning magic and saving Punisher here. Gambit I always think is a super strong save. His ult can be extraordinarily good for attacking and pushing in, rather than a huge healing ult like Cloak and Daggers that we see that really chooses to save the team. I feel like it's very strategical here. Banning Cloak and Dagger Don't know how Reverse Salad and King Rex are going to feel about that one, but I know as support players they can come back from their typical character getting played here. Phoenix Band coming out. Oh, actually, we banned Cloaking Dagger. What am I talking about? So running something a little bit different. Last save coming up here. Scarlet Witch save. I think that's a little bit interesting. Obviously, like, I don't think she's necessarily extremely meta this season or anything like that, but I've seen an uprise in her being played competitively, at least for what I do in high school leagues. So, I'm really interested to see how this plays out, especially when we get into the team comps. Obviously, you can't see all that now.
Yeah, and the Wanda's gonna be interesting there. Phoenix, I'm kind of okay with that. Although we do have a heavy Phoenix play, the no cap ban is interesting. So that gives Captain a chance to play his main. So we'll be interested to see there. Definitely probably going to see a vibe or a dive vibe here, but let's see what happens. I like
Yeah,
the
it's kind
Gambit.
of interesting because they had a Punisher save and a Magic Band, which makes me think that they were running, more of like an anti-dive, which I guess would make sense, especially with the Namor ban as well. So it looks like we'll be seeing like a lot of flanking and things like that.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what team makes it happen first as far as like make their comp, work effectively. Was wondering what
Yeah.
Ume was gonna take there. I still need to take that screenshot off of F12.
I think definitely Psylocke is an interesting pick here. I don't think I've ever seen Ume play Psylocke. Maybe played it last game when I wasn't doing shoutcasting, but definitely a really interesting pick. I think she's pretty strong on this map, especially for domination. But I'll be really interested to see how it works with the rest of the team comp here.
Yeah, he has a lot of time on Psylocke, so it should be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think a good pick here. Captain's going in, getting those 2 picks.
Okay. I like to see that quick and early. Punisher is one of those ones, if you get caught out, you're kind of stuck, and that's potentially what happened there. They just got to make sure they keep Captain up and in the fight here. Captain going to be going into that backline dangerously on a regular. Ume kind of low there. Captain needs that heal.
If Captain can get stayed up, he really goes after those picks. I think Captain America is one of his strongest characters. We're really going to see here, going after those supports in Invisible on the back line there.
Oof, gotta find more heals. Not getting the heals we need.
And Poppy gets picked off here as Winter Soldier. The real question is, will they have the team have enough DPS power without him? Captain goes down here too on this team fight.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for the Fire Ants. Just not enough heals there, not enough focused heals at least in that fight. They actually seemed to be fine for the most part, but the heals just weren't coming out. So they fell off. Obviously.
I think when Poppy and Captain go down, they're one of the 2 main people that get those picks, obviously, with, Rogue and Chinese specifically, mainly staying on point. That's sort of how they function. And when they get picked off, it's really hard to keep those healings focused. Looks like they're running towards the back line here, taking a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah, well, only kind of, I don't know, gonna be interesting. Not sure if we've got this. Yeah, we do. Ult's probably gonna come out pretty quickly here. Lots of ults on the board.
Getting a 3K.
4 maybe.
As they cap point, will they get these picks? Yeah, and it's a good team wipe here from South Carolina.
Yeah, they're definitely going to come back with a lot of ults here. The Fire Ants, King Rexel has a hard time here because he's going to be probably the higher healer out of the 2 here. And
100%.
gonna need to put in a lot of that healing. Gonna see Captain ult early.
Going against that Punisher all here, it might be difficult.
Yeah, it
A
could
lot of
be.
damage coming out from Punisher.
Worst case, it does get them to use the ultimate,
Ooh,
but they've still got a lot more. King Rexel had to use the ult there. Storm gonna ult too. Making ults pop at least. Not sure.
Without that cloak and dagger ult, it might be just hard to keep those kills out, but they're managing to do it. And Poppy pops that ult there. Can he get these picks he needs? It
Yeah.
looks like he goes down here.
Reverse Salad kind of holding on to the ult. I don't know if that was good or bad.
I think Gambit is one of those ults. It's really more beneficial to use it when you're rushing in. So
Yeah, I
if you're
agree.
in a fight here, it might just be better to use it to rush in and cap that point, especially since they are at a high capping percentage. The Tree still holding on to point here and gets picked off. I think we're going to see a Gambit ult here as they rush in, especially because they're at 94%.
Of course, I believe so. Who's he gonna copy though is gonna be the interesting aspect. Or not copy, sorry. How are they gonna
The
follow up
fact that it's Loki
based
ult.
on? Yeah, I was thinking about the Loki ult earlier.
Yeah, there we go. Good Gambit ult to push in there. Countered with an Invis ult. Mercy, Starwitch ult here.
Yeah, lots of fire ants going down there.
Down and a Poppy.
Ume, I don't feel like we got enough focused healing. Struggling. Yeah, might be enough though to take. They've got to win it. Psylocke low goes down, trying to change. Apologies. Do have one left. Captain on it. Trying to battle. That's going to be a good stagger. They should recap, but they have a chance to contest. No ults for either team, so this is going to be a battle for the best strength. Fire Ants do get too early. That's going to be very helpful. Clobbering coming out.
The big ult comes out here. Doesn't seem to get anybody with it though, besides Poppy. And Poppy's been going down a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate our comp, but I'm not a total fan of it completely. And battling here, Fire Ants got their work cut out for them to get this point capped. We're into overtime.
Up Shiny on point.
Yeah, not sure why we're not like on point at the moment.
I think we're gonna portal
Trying to portal in, it's taking forever, but we are there now. Did we get there fast enough is the question when the other players come back.
TA&M is really staggered here. Looks like we will have enough power to push this into overtime.
Yeah, it does look that way. Do we cap? We do not cap just yet. We're still into overtime. Ultimate coming out. That should do it. They might have one more contest in them, but I doubt it. Oh,
ooh,
they do.
They make it back to contest again. Overtime's lasting forever.
It is. I think we could play a slightly better comp into them. I'm not sure that's totally it, but we'll see what we tweak after we go into the next round. But Fire Ants take the W there. Just felt like, or take the W in this round, but just felt like in that first round, just, I don't.
What part of the team comp were you not liking? Was it the Winter Soldier?
I just think it's, Winter Soldier was a little hit or miss, right? Which I guess that's always Winter Soldier, but I just feel like we don't have the heals that we need, to stay up in team fights and long fights. But outside of that, like, that's really it. So a lot of pressures on Rexel there to keep the team going.
I think that honestly, Gambit is not a bad pick. I just think that so far, Sumter's been so used to be playing these two healbot characters where all of their abilities are based on just healing.
Yeah.
And Reverse Salad is playing more of a strategic character, more of a character that really shows why Marvel Rivals calls them strategists instead of healers. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And while he's still doing a lot of damage, it's definitely something to keep in mind. His ult is not going to do the healing output that they're used to with having a Cloak and Dagger and Invis ult. So as we go into team fights here, it'll be really interesting to see how those ults are being used because they're used so differently. Immediately coming out here by Ume. I
don't hate it.
Take on their support.
He's gonna go down, or at least stunned, almost down.
Can they keep him up? Looks like they can. Ume is just killing it.
And that's better right there with the focus heals, because he was so low multiple times and they brought him up. So I do like how that fight went there. And again, it's all going to be positioning too, based on King Rexel being able to keep him up more often. But I agree, I don't hate Gambit, so it's not like I would necessarily change a lot here. Um, it's just something we've got to be prepared in those fights not to go down.
Cancels here.
And gonna be
Totally. I
interesting with
think
this
Gabriel works
group fight
best in a
too.
3 support comp, but I definitely think he's working well here with that double support. Captain's ulting here
Coming
on
up too.
Groove.
And
See if Ume can get some picks here. They're all pretty low.
you know, maybe we also had like not necessarily a traditional tank too in those last fights. So maybe having a traditional tank here can kind of change that up a little bit. Who did we have last time? I know we had Rogue, but
We had Rogue and Captain America.
Captain, yeah, exactly. So
now,
definitely not a traditional tank front line, like eat up, soak up the space, slow him down kind of thing that we're seeing right now from Captain. So that does change things up a little bit too.
100%. I definitely think he's mostly playing to the map. Obviously, Captain was really good on that last part of the map, and Gru's incredible on this part of the map.
Right.
So he's definitely also playing to that strength. But then again, we haven't seen Captain really play too many things like Gru. We've seen him mostly play dives. But a lot of ults coming out here from King Rexel and from Endgame on both sides.
Fire Ants are on the better side of this right now. I like what I'm seeing.
Are just keeping them trapped.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing there. Like you mentioned, they played to the advantage of Captain America in the first, and now they're playing to the advantage of Groot to kind of stop everybody in their tracks and able to more focus and keep everybody together. I mean, they have a huge ultimate advantage. I think this is it here, though. Don't think there's going to be
100%.
any contested Fire Ants blow it out there in the second round. So that's what I was kind of feeling. I felt like they were the better team in round one, but it was much closer, and it may have just been how the comps played it out. But here, I felt like they kind of just had their way in that moment.
Yeah. I think the first round too is always sort of like a warm-up. It's sort of, even if you do practice beforehand, the first round is kind of, your team is all together, you're all playing against another team, you're figuring everything out. And I saw a lot of improvement, especially with the Gambit in the second round. Obviously, Reverse Salad is incredible at whatever support he plays, but I saw a lot more improvement with the kit the second round, because I think he was mostly expecting to play Cloak and Dagger. So definitely that swap, you saw him get a lot more confident the second round. But overall, Ume Tree had some incredible ults there. I would have liked to see the DPS not get picked off nearly as much in the first round. But obviously, I think that just came from not having Groot or any sort of, tank that's like not a dive. But really great overall game. What do you think about it? What do you think about the team comps we saw in this game specifically?
Yeah, I think, like I said, you saw the more traditional, like, frontline tank in the second round, and you kind of saw them bully and push them around, or at least slow their progression. Whereas the first team comps from the first round, you were basically going to see them head to head, going at it as a team. That's just the way it was with those two matchups. I think it took Poppy a little bit to get going in that first round, but once he kind of got going in the first round, and maybe they were targeting him a little bit too, to kind of throw him off. A lot of teams don't really like Winter Soldier.
Yeah, for
sure. So he may have caught a little bit of target, but as you can see from the stats, like everybody kind of balanced out as we went on, and obviously they kind of steamrolled that second round. But now going to switch over to the hybrid approach, right? Or is it just payload this time?
Yeah, I believe it's convergence.
Yeah, so going to be headed to that. It'll be interesting to see how teams kind of battle over the point, and if they actually, get stalled out at times, how they play their choke points. Do they keep them stuck in spawn? Teams have been able to do that to a lot of different teams, so there is possibility there with that happening. So, but yeah, what do you expect to see in this next round?
So they played a really big anti-dive for their picks and bans. So we saw like a Namor ban, which is a great anti-dive character. We saw a Punisher save, which is like all this types of stuff. So I actually thought they were going to play a lot heavier dive than that. But I just think it was really interesting bans and picks. A lot of the characters just didn't really mesh together. And what I'm trying to say is like some of the characters were being banned where it made it seem like they were going to play dive, and some of them made it seem like they were playing so they were not going to be dive. It was very interesting to see that being played. But I'll be really interested to see if maybe they ban a little bit of Captain, of like his characters in the next round. Obviously, Captain America gets banned quite often, so I'll be really interested to see if that happens. And I definitely agree with you. I think in Poppy, I will definitely say he gets a little bit of the most flame from me, but also at the end of the day, like he has those really, really strong ults. We've seen it from him last season. We've seen it from him this season. I think Winter Soldier they were really targeting him that first round. He just kept going down. He was mainly the first one getting picked off. So I'm really hoping in this next game, we make sure he's not getting picked off as easily, because I think, Sumter will steamroll them even more if that's the case. So I'll be really interested to see what goes on this next round. Obviously, Convergence is a lot different than Domination. Domination's kind of like a weird kind of map, because you don't have that convoy aspect for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think it takes Poppy a little bit to get going in that one just because of the target. But like you said, gets back on track. I think a lot of the weight is off Poppy's shoulders this semester, though, not having to be a so low DPS.
100%.
And Ume helping him out there as it
Ume's been
took
killing
him.
it this season,
Yeah,
for sure.
as it took time to get going. Yeah, he's definitely been helping him out. So gonna be interesting to see in this round, though. Like you said, who gets banned, who gets saved. Fire Ant's blue this time.
I'm seeing a Gambit ban straight out the gate. I'm not surprised at all there.
I like the storm save. The storm save, and Poppy maybe gonna play that.
This is making a lot of sense. Like as I was saying, the first round's kind of figuring everything out, and then obviously bans and picks get a little bit more strategic here. So definitely seeing a lot more thought go behind each of these bans and picks. During that first round on that first map, honestly, it was just Dolphin and Reverse Salad on that point. Or actually, not Reverse Salad. Yeah, Reverse Salad. And they were just staying alive because they had the Rogue and they had the Gambit, so I'm not surprised at all with that Gambit ban here. Banning Cloak and Dagger, not surprised there. Very interesting ban, though, I would say, coming from Sumter here.
Yeah, is interesting. I mean, they may be trying to take away some of the options. Obviously, duh, if you ban somebody, you're taking away an option, right? But, they used Luna last time. Luna's not as strong as she was at one point, so maybe they're trying to force their hand to play something like that.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, too, Sumter is incredible at support, and honestly, our supports can flex to any character just because they happen to run Invis and Cloak and Dagger majority of the time. It's definitely not a skill-based issue. It's definitely like just because that's what they play for their team comp. And I think we're going to see here, they're going to ban those pretty easy supports that can output a lot of damage and healing, and so that they can play the more tricky supports and honestly make it harder on the other team because they don't have those support options as well. And that's a pro of being able to flex a lot of the time here for Sumter.
Yeah, I do think this map 2 is going to be something to watch out for. I think we just kind of had our way in the second round, but the first round was kind of tight. Let's see how it is when we play around points and such here, just overall. And Ume coming in at the Phoenix and Poppy there. They do have the ability to play Hella too, so you could see that change coming up at some point. So will be interesting to see what overall we see here. And let's see, Captain's still in, gonna play Groot here. Yeah, this is gonna tell us a lot. Let's see, we are headed on defense first, so that can also tell a lot too, right?
Yeah, defense is great. I think Groot is really good on defense for this map specifically. And I think if you're running a Groot, Loki is definitely a safe option, especially for a support. I think Rocket's also a great pick on this map too, just because there's so many high points to climb on to get away if you're getting picked off in the big team fire, things like that. But I'll be really interested to see how the A&M's going to play Namor here, because they're playing, like, I can't even speak today. Sumter is playing a lot of poke characters, so Phoenix and Storm here. So not necessarily any dive that Namor would need to be played, but it'll be really interesting to see how he's played here. They're definitely playing to the map a lot. All these characters are very good for this map.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we play the choke points. And Shiny pretty low here. Made low as well, but doing a good job of getting the heals back up.
Ooh, Captain's getting pretty low here.
Yeah, this is going to be a good choke point. Captain gets a kill.
There from Captain.
Ooh, they got one here. Focus.
Can they get Hella
Does
here?
get out. Just barely gets out.
Ooh.
Trying, maybe not the total focus from the team, but they do know where they are. I do like this stall on the first one, even if it doesn't maintain and they do break out of it. This is good to have, at least initially.
First ult here. Doesn't look like they get anybody. Captain gets another pick here. There we go, reverse salad.
Yeah, and I mean, it is good to see them fight here and hold, because it's going to, again, even if they get through it, it takes a lot of time away
here.
here.
On that back line there.
Yeah, had to turn around.
Kingsville does go down here, though.
Yeah, they had to do something to get Sumter off of the front line, because they were getting pretty pushed back into their own spawns. Yeah, I got ultimates 3 and 3, so Shiny goes down too early. May gonna find a big hit there. Everybody should be somewhat low. Maybe they do get two working. Yeah, working their way on the door. See a Poppy ult here before he goes down, maybe.
No, there we go. Getting healed up here. Interesting Thor ult does not seem to get a pick there from TA&M.
No, did not. Kind of just everybody kind of backed off and played it safe. Gonna see the Storm ult coming to the back line. Takes down 2 with a little help. Pretty scrappy at the moment right now. USC Sumter's a little bit separated though. Got to tighten up a little bit. Oh, as I say that, Captain getting 2. Ooh, they got another one picked off. That was a good group wall.
A&M is getting really staggered here. It'll be interesting. They're going to need to regroup.
Got to find this one too. Yeah, I agree. You're going to see them maybe try to get to that back line again to get USC Sumter's attention off the front, but don't know if they're going to be able to get there. Coming up on a minute here left.
I think we see another big group ult here.
Yeah, heavily holding. Ultimates coming out from both sides. Let's see what happens. Lots of fire ants getting low, but able to withstand. Ult's coming out. Yeah, very good. Ooh. Gets blocked there with Shiny's ult. Ume goes down. Fire ants push back a little bit. Can they get this 30 seconds? They aren't too far, but they do have a little ways to go.
Captain's still holding strong onto that point.
Might be using a portal to try to get there quickly. If the fire ants want to try to get there.
Gonna attempt to get on there, really pushing through immediately.
Ume, Rexel, and Poppy. Gonna need to drop that quick. Yeah, they are.
Big storm ult here from Poppy.
Huge storm ult. Not sure what Rexel copied. Did you see it for his ult?
I think it was invisible.
Okay. Which was very helpful in that fight, I'm sure. And that's going to stop them right at the point. So, yeah, if that was the copy there, that was actually pretty clutch. Because I think that kept everybody up. That makes sense why no one went down.
I think it's super interesting because obviously Loki can copy anybody, right? And it can change the game. And I think we saw here was a really great pick. And it looks like A&M's going to copy it there. Because they didn't have Cloak and Dagger or another ult that could output that much healing, right? We just saw King Rexel and that last team push take reverse Salad's abilities and just ult again. And it was, really clutch. And it came to get them that round win. But again, super interesting way. I think we're seeing a lot of interesting support being played here from Sumter. Really showing why, again, like I've said this a billion times, why they're called strategists and not necessarily healers.
Right. And thanks for everybody watching. We appreciate you. So far, the Fire Ants are up 1-0 in the series. If you're just joining us, and they are up one, well, have a decent hold after the first one. Only held them to right before the first point cap, so they just have to get to that a sliver beyond that point, and we'll win this round. But they got their work cut out for them. Going on attack is different than defense for sure. As far as like you might do well on defense, but then switching to attack could be ugly. So let's see what happens here from the Fire Ants. I think the
Especially, yeah,
first
taking
like
that
team fight
stance.
or so is going to tell us a lot as well.
100%. And I think we've seen Sumter be really successful on attack previously. I think we just got to be warned about this first corner. You can take a lot of damage input from the defensive team.
I
Captain
agree.
taking a lot of
Captain's
health here, like I
super
said.
low. Gonna need to be picked up quick. They do heal
His
him
walls
up.
are just going down pretty quickly. Ooh, they get a pick? They get a pick there on.
Yeah. And first
Red
team to
Bull.
ult's gonna be able to do big things here in this fight. Looks like it's gonna be reverse salad. No, King's Rexel and reverse salad.
Ooh, they blocked that thing out there. Reverse salad's blocking the goal. Luna always comes out.
And this is gonna be a really strong push. Like I said, as ults come out, you're gonna expect to see them. They're not gonna play here. They know they need to try to get them going quickly, and they can make some major plays.
Taking down that rocket ult. Nice ult here from Poppy.
Fire Ants still battling, trying to get
There we
there.
go.
I do like how they were not stuck on that first choke point. That's going to probably do very good for them here. Maybe see King Rexel steal Salad's ult and just have so much heals that they just push through, but we'll see.
I think we'll see here in a minute. I think they're going to try to get some picks first.
Clobber in
Thing all comes
time.
back out here again.
There's the ult. Nope, King Rexel did snatch that heal ult.
Let's see if we can get some picks here.
Get
Nice,
two.
getting some picks.
Magneto ulting.
Magneto.
Fire Ants battling here.
Anyway, though. The Silver
Ume
lost a while.
finds
Ume with
one.
a big ult.
I think the
There we
Fire
go.
Ants have this. Just need a little bit more. And there it
There we
is.
go.
They
got
almost
the
got there,
try.
though, to hold it. You saw them coming through that portal, but Fire Ants take the round 1-0, up 2-0 in the series. What do you think about it?
I think the last one was super interesting. So obviously, Sumter banned support Deadpool, but what's really interesting is that you can ban support Deadpool, but that still leaves his DPS and his tank available to play. I think we saw in the last round there, A&M played Deadpool DPS, I believe, or tank. It was one of the two. I couldn't exactly see which one, which was really, really interesting. Oh, it was tank there. They were running a 4 tank and 2 support at the end. But I think the Luna for A&M was ultimately really successful. Luna ult blocks the 3 main ults from Sumter. That's going to be the Groot ult, that's going to be the Phoenix ult, and the Storm ult. A lot of that damage that we had kept getting blocked by Luna ult, even though they were able to like output enough damage to get through it. I think that's something that Sumter's going to have to keep in mind going to the next round. A lot of their ults were getting blocked by Luna. But I really liked the Loki and the Invisible Woman working together here. And then obviously all of the players are doing incredibly well. Shiny there has been, while not necessarily getting all those picks or things like that, really supporting the backline too, while our TPS and Captain push up as well. So really great plays overall. I think the last minute tank switches by A&M kind of caused them to lose towards the end. I think they ended up just getting really sloppy with their switches. But yeah, what do you think?
I think seeing 19 assists from Poppy there is wild from the DPS. That just means he's doing the job and they're putting him down in all different kinds of ways there. So I like to see that. And, Ume coming up with 20 kills as well. So just overall looks good. I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit more contested in that round than it was. The first round when they had defense, it was really well held, but very combative, very back and forth. I felt like there were times where the Fire Ants were a little scattered that had A&M been able to get them in just the right situation, they might have been in good shape there. But
Hmm.
Fire Ants did hold and did enough. Obviously, in the attack, they kind of just pushed. They didn't let anything stop. Like I mentioned, I felt like as soon as they get beyond that first little choke in that corner, and then
Hmm.
also as soon as the first team got the ultimate, you were going to see it go down quickly,
Hmm.
and that is what we saw. So
Yeah,
I like
I think.
sounding like I know what I'm talking about at least, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're completely right in terms of like I think Sumter could be a little separated, and I think A&M honestly, when the Hella was on the back line there towards the first round of the convergence map, we saw a little bit of success. Like Hella was sort of putting a lot of damage on King Rexel, sorry, and Reverse Salad, our two supports. They were taking a little bit of hits, so I think that if A&M stops playing that really heavy anti-dive like Namor and things like that, and they start playing really heavy dive onto our back line, so and really separating Sumter, so maybe some Jeff, maybe some Magic, like all of that really flanking Sumter when they're sprawled, they would have a lot of success. So we saw a little bit of that when they were at the beginning, and I think as well the hardest part about Sumter currently to beat them is the Groot walls. Those Groot walls are
Hmm.
killing them. They're getting
Yeah.
separated from their supports, the tanks are getting picked off. I think if they were running a Punisher or something with a lot of damage output and they were constantly making sure they were breaking those walls, that Sumter would be in a little bit of a pickle without all of that shielding. So I think those are the two things I would say could put Sumter in a pickle in this next round, and it'll be something I'll be really interested to see if A&M picks up on. But they were having a lot of success with Squirrel Girl, and Squirrel Girl has that DPS damage to break those Groot walls, and so I'll be really keen to see if they play that again next round. But I think we're still gonna have that Deadpool ban. And I don't know, maybe they're gonna try to ban Groot for their first ban too from A&M. So all things to consider going to next round.
Definitely things to consider there, and it will be interesting to see how A&M plays with their back against the wall here. And Fire Ants feeling like they're in a good spot. Don't need to let off in this moment. Got to make sure that they keep the pedal down. So it's always interesting to see when we go in
Hmm.
what pick bans are. I think
Yeah.
that always tells kind of a tale a lot in games. If you see like the same ones over and over again, then maybe teams aren't really adjusting for the situation.
Hmm.
But those teams that do, like many of the teams we play and the Fire Ants, seem to make some adjustments and ban out based either accordingly to what they know about the other team, what they have experienced from the other team, or based on maps and things like that. So that's going to be
Yeah.
really good to see there
And bans
overall.
and
But
picks turn the tide too. So if you
they
get
can
a couple of
absolutely.
like bans,
Hmm.
your team might be out of luck for a round.
For
I think a
sure.
great example of that in my experience is like I have a really great Strange player and his Strange got banned and we lost that round because that our whole team comp was really reliant on that for a little bit. And that's where flexing becomes really, really important. It's something our supports do really well for Sumter. It's like they can flex to pretty much any character. And so that's really, really successful for Sumter. But if a team just can't do that, they honestly get sort of jammed during these bans and picks. So it'll be not only a necessity to kind of see where the game will go, and I think as you said, like it can really predict how the game will go. And I think what you said about like picking the same characters over and over is a sign of not adapting for sure. But I think it also can show just the overall a sort of who will win the game.
Yeah, it can. And I mean, sometimes you do just ban exactly the same because
Hmm.
you're like, I don't want anything to do with what that team's the best
Yeah,
at. So, I mean, it's not necessarily like, do they never adapt? But a lot of times
yeah,
teams will use it to adapt and make things happen for them. So,
yeah.
will be
I'd like to see
interesting.
Magic not get banned. Honestly, I think Magic is sort of a weak ban we're seeing here, but Penny ban coming out. Storm save. So far, nothing too crazy.
The group ban.
Group ban here. Like I said, I was not surprised by that at all. Hella
Let's
ban. I
see, do we
told you, like I
say
said, that
Phoenix
Hella was
again?
going to the back line. I think we're gonna see either Psylocke or Phoenix save here for Ume. But if
D-
not, I think we might try to save a tank for Captain because we don't want his Captain America to get banned too here in this last round.
At the Phoenix. They are
Phoenix.
liking these area effects ultimates and
Hmm.
distance attackers, so
Yeah, and I think now that we have 2 DPS, it's really ominously beneficial to just save the characters that and Poppy and Ume want to play because at the end of the day, their DPS can make up for anything that Captain's tank could, having his tank get banned is not the end of the world anymore.
right.
Saving Cloak and Dagger here, not surprised. I think that might be what turns the tide for A&M here. Skipping that ban, oh, that might hurt A&M in the long run here.
It might. We'll see. Not sure
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
what would make that happen to where they wouldn't do it, but maybe just
Not
indecisive and then
deciding a
lost track of
character,
time.
yeah. Hate to say I have done that once or twice, but
Oh, of course, we all probably have.
I really think it would have been just in their best interest here. But obviously, we've been seeing on A&M's team, Nico Bra really has been wanting to play Cloak and Dagger as we see like that's sort of the preview we've been getting. So maybe some interesting things coming out of A&M here in this next round. Ume playing Magic here. The one thing to look out for is that, A&M is playing anti-dive. They are playing Namor and Invisible Woman. So just something for Ume to sort of watch out for by playing dive. But knowing our supports, I think he'll have enough healing to sort of keep it up.
Yeah, I agree overall there, and
I outnumber you.
this was the same map last time you and I were streaming, I believe, that Fire Ants had a pretty decent hold here
Securing the mission area.
and victory. It was a little scrappy though, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Good map for AoE
Really
with
holding
those
this corner choke
ultimates.
point here.
Yeah. First team to it. Seeing Shiny on Thing is going to be a little interesting.
Yeah, 100%. He's been playing Rope for most of this match. But the Brawl might be good to go in pair with Strange.
I think one of our AoE ultimates, if they get it early, they're going to use it. And seeing Ume change off here.
Like I said, Ume just can't really break that back line just yet here. But hopefully he's just charging up ult for now.
Yeah, Fire Ants are
During these team fights.
closer to ults than Texas.
There we go. Let's rock.
Trying to stick with the most action here. Just kind of, like you said, brawling it out. Just a little bit of pokes here and there. Maybe one gonna go down. Do they find him? Nope.
I think Storm and Poppy might want to ult here.
Yeah, I was thinking and Poppy ult might come out quickly. Yep, here it goes. Gonna see that go quickly.
Enough. Hella ult here. Interesting sort of ult from Poppy, but I just don't think he's trying to boss the Phoenix there, but Bill's down with it.
Captain gonna ult
Decent
here
ult
as
from
well.
Captain.
Yeah,
Fancy
kind of
get the
a
picks.
discombobulated a little bit there in those ultimates. That Phoenix ult kind of having its way with the Fire Ants in that instance.
I was being honest, like Ume just can't break into that back line. They're playing a really strong anti-dive with Namor. And same with Shiny Dolphin. Like they're both playing melee characters and they just can't seem to break into that back line without getting obviously kind of squished.
Yeah, and Fire Ants do
They need
lose
to regroup here.
that whole. Definitely got to regroup. Not sure that comp's gonna work for the Fire Ants. Gonna see a little bit of a change here. I really think they probably should have kept the Phoenix and the Storm kind of combo that they had. I think the area effect ultimates on that choke point there could have been pretty effective, but they chose to go a different route.
Pushing up through main here. Going Moon Knight from Ume Tree. Very strong on this choke point of the map, so hopefully some good stuff here. No longer playing that melee. Maybe a big ult here from Shiny. There we go. It's slobbering time, but goes down.
Yeah, just
Hopefully
out
they
of the
switch here to Rogue.
reach, it seems like.
Disappear!
I think they were trying something new. You know, they had the lead, but definitely something that they're going to want to swap off up now.
You are nothing!
Ooh, Phoenix ult here.
Yeah,
Captain tries to ult him to slow him down, but no
really
avail.
just kind of unorganized here from the Fire Ants. Just got to get together. A little staggered. I think
There
this
we
is going
go.
to look better here. Once they can
Switch
kind
to
of get their
Emma.
feet stable and locked in. Poppy getting tagged pretty bad here. What can the Fire Ants do? May going down, and Poppy going to need to ult quickly.
There we go. Good and Poppy ult. Really making sure they're hitting that no more in the back line. A lot of damage here. Definitely not a ton of picks, but enough to stagger them.
Yes.
There we go. Winning this team fight here. They can get the thing. Nice.
All right, Fire Ants can kind of breathe now and figure out what they want to do to adjust. I definitely think the swap for Shiny was a good one. We'll see how this Moon Knight plays
100%.
out. It's not a bad, thing to do. Obviously, you can see why in this situation. Just so much range and just sitting back and building up.
Yeah, and I think the best part is that Moon Knight gets his ult super quickly. It's basically just another ability, honestly, for Moon Knight's kit. So at least we know that Ume will pretty much always have his ult when need be. I think the hardest part was that magic and that thing. It was just a melee character into such an extreme brawl. And now that A&M's got that cloak and dagger, like I was saying, I think they've been itching to play it now that it's been
See some
unbanned.
ultimates pop out here shortly. If they could take out that Magneto, that could be huge.
We're gonna see Captain ult here in a minute.
Yeah.
There we go. Captain ult.
Take out the Magneto because he
Goodness
had
dang.
ultimate. That's going to be good. 2-down thing as well.
I think you can stagger their supports, which would be nice.
Yeah, that helps out from the
See
Fire
if
Ants
Ume
there,
can get
though.
these picks. Ooh.
They definitely targeted ones that had ultimates. Not that they necessarily knew it. They might have assumed it, but was able to block that. I think he was also trying to pick up that with that ultimate, the support in the back line, but just was out of reach. This will be
A&M
interesting
has
to
the ult
see.
advantage here. I think we're gonna
They
see
do.
a cloak and dagger.
I think
ult
we're
here in
going
a
to see
minute.
2
Woo.
ultimates from
Two
Reverse
ults here.
Salad.
Reverse
Rexel
ult
maybe
here.
gonna do the same if needed.
100%.
Fire Ants
I think we're
don't
gonna see
need
that
it
go more
yet.
towards the overtime.
Yeah,
Hopefully Shiny can ult here in a minute. Looks like they get those picks that they need.
yeah. I
Good
was gonna say
adjustment here.
they had the ability to make that double heal there, but didn't need to. But they have it in their pocket if they need it for this next team fight. This 30 seconds, this could be the last fight. Fire Ants do have the overwhelming advantage with ultimates. Just gotta play this smart. That was a really
think-
big fight, last fight that they won.
I think if Shiny and Poppy can stack their ults here, it'll be really ultimately successful for all of them. Ooh. There we go. Ult here from King Rexel. Nice.
Shiny can have it as well if needed it.
There we go. Let's see.
That's enough to deal with everybody. Shiny still has an ultimate. Needs it.
Looks like we're just gonna solo ult the cloak and dagger here.
Why
Nice,
not?
and gets them off that point. Why
Yep.
not?
Why not? Did the job. So Fire Ants do stop them there after a little bit of shaky moments, but give credit, obviously, over to Texas A&M. They had their best round so far.
Really strong comeback from them. Yeah, like I said with the bans and picks, I think that cloak and dagger was huge for them. They're getting out the healing that they need. I honestly think that their character that's playing Nico Bra, who's playing cloak and dagger, obviously we see a lot of strength. They're really the strongest character for A&M currently, keeping those tanks up, which is why Sumter has been going after their supports. Their supports are incredible, obviously. And I think we saw at the beginning a little bit of bumpiness from Sumter just because, like I said, they were playing that magic and that thing into a Namor, which is a huge anti-dive. Like, they were just not going to be able to break into that backline, especially without a Groot. And so I think it was a little bit tricky at the beginning. With a little bit of adjustment, we really saw them come back. We saw Shiny, switch to Emma Frost, which was huge. We're actually seeing Shiny play Deadpool at the moment, it looks like. But then they had that huge comeback at the end. But definitely something that Sumter has to be aware of. You know, A&M is really putting up a fight this round.
Right click.
Left.
Yeah, it will be exciting to see how Fire Ants play out this attack,
4, 3, 2.
and if they struggle with the opening
All you have
round.
to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
A&M did a pretty good job of breaking through.
You are restored.
Really pushing up here, taking some space. Hopefully they can sort of walk onto point here.
Number you.
Taking up space a lot quicker than A&M is. Wait, also
Shiny goes
Bloodstone
down.
here too.
2 down quickly.
Ooh. Hard choke point to break into.
It can be for
Back
sure.
up, resetting.
Number you.
That corner is just really tough, especially without a Groot. You know, you can't really separate all the damage coming from
Moon Knight's gonna have
point.
ultimate pretty quick here.
100%.
I don't know. What do you think about the Daredevil here?
Pick up your
I think Daredevil's interesting. I think he's can be a strong pick. But I think Deadpool is just not the strongest tank. I think
Or
someone-
sorry, I meant
Deadpool's
Deadpool, not
really good.
Daredevil. Apologize.
Yeah, I think Deadpool's just a weird pick. I think Deadpool's only really good at support, if I'm being honest. That's just my own opinion. But I would like to see a Rogue maybe here from Shiny or an Emma Frosty, and I think that'd be super helpful.
They do
especially having
push
that double
through.
strength. Good.
Without really
Help
using
from-
ultimates, able to break through and
There we go, getting some good picks. I think also Bloodstone is just, as a new character, naturally pretty overpowered, and her ult is similar to Jeff's, can just get people off a point if need be. So I think, honestly, pretty strong pick from Ume Tree here. There we go, capping that point. 4 minutes
when
left on
did
the
she
clock.
drop?
me or anything.
A couple of weeks ago, I know some of my players have been using her, but definitely not super popular in comp just yet. But she is very, very good.
Lots of ultimates here
Deadpool coming out.
if they want them. Rexel gets his. Magneto.
Magneto coming out here. Ooh,
Reverse just a little late on that.
I think they're gonna let them use as many ults as they can here. It's not really necessary that somebody needs to use any of their ults. Ooh. And A&M wins this team fight here.
Yeah, I think Reverse was just a little bit late on their ultimate, and it kind of got a pick on Poppy and just slowed us down altogether. Ooh, they got Magneto
Good
low.
pick on that Moon
Can't
Knight.
get him.
Ooh.
Gonna see
Okay,
the
huge
ultimate
ult here
come
from
in.
Poppy.
This could be big.
This could be big. There we
It's
go.
the back line, blows it up.
But Phoenix kind of pushes and Poppy from getting that tank. Get that
Duel
Phoenix.
gets
There we
it.
go.
That's big for the Fire Ants. They can push almost to this right here.
And with
Potentially.
Potentially. He can just sort of keep them off a point here.
That's true too.
Yeah, the point here, they cap.
Oh, that's
There we
going to be a
go.
huge stagger as well. So trying to get a little bit of hold there. They could push all the way.
There we go. Like I said,
Ultimate.
nobody's ults just pushing him back off the point.
And they've got the heal in their pocket with Rexel if they need it too. Ah,
Hopefully they use Magneto before he touches.
think
There we
that'll
go.
just
And they just walk it up.
walking it down and
Even
gets,
the Fire has to win.
yeah,
3-0.
just walking it down. Good job there from the Fire Ants overall. Love to see it. But yeah, match victory. Tight at some times and then pushing straight through in others. But Fire Ants get the victory overall 3-0 in the series. Thoughts on how it went?
I think the last game was probably the best one. I think we saw a lot of really strategic bans or picks. Obviously, like we said, it can really make or break it. I think A&M put up their best fight in this last round, really played to their strong suits. I really would have liked them to save Cloak and Dagger maybe sooner. I think that would have been really beneficial for them as a team. I mean, obviously, as you can see, their healing output was just incredible from A&M's side for this game. And I think it did them a lot of good. And I think that they were putting out so much damage output that they kept breaking Captain's shields and didn't really let Ume or Shiny get into their back line when we were playing the Thing and Magic. So it was a really incredible sort of display of A&M adapting, although I would have really liked to see it a little bit sooner. But obviously, Sumter was playing some interesting characters today. I mean, I've really not seen that Loki be played more than for like a single round from King Rexel. We had Ume on Elsa Bloodstone, which is a new character, and then Shiny here in the last round, going on Deadpool, which I definitely think was a fine pick, but I definitely would have liked to maybe see him stay on Emma. I think Emma could have been just a little bit stronger with that added shield, just so you
Yeah.
had two characters on the shield. But I think overall, incredible game. Obviously, Sumter won 3-0. Incredible thing by the team. I just think that their teamwork and their display and their skill set for each of the characters they play and the rules they play was just overall, what keeps winning them these games. But what do you think overall?
I think it was a good game from the Fire Ants. I think you saw
Mm-hmm.
the ability for them to adapt, try some things that are a little bit different. Definitely, probably kept Texas A&M on the
Mm-hmm.
ropes as far as what to expect. I mean, probably didn't expect to see, Deadpool come out in that round. Probably didn't expect to see Ume pick the choices that Ume picked from time to time. Even picking off of like when they were going with the Storm and Phoenix kind of situation, because we even saved
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix and like didn't even use
Yeah.
Phoenix. So I mean, just kind of throwing them off, I think was good from the Fire Ants. But they got a pretty good team victory. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoy this team. Again, I don't necessarily. Uh, Watch over them a lot from a coaching perspective. I just kind of come in and ask questions and give them things to think about. Just try to keep their focus. But I mean, they're like laser focused and locked in. So it's
Yeah.
been really good to deal with this team. They've been able to suffice on a lot of things themselves, and I see improvement each week. And just overall well played from them. So I'm happy to see it.
100%. Yeah, I
Texas
know.
A&M GG's, but yeah, Fire Ants able to take that
Mm-hmm.
victory.
Yeah, Fire Ants have, I think last season when we were first starting to like really get into the rivals, there were some bumps in the road and there wasn't a lot of like flexibility. Every single person kind of had like their main character, but now we just see them being able to play and adapt so quickly. They seem to really have a good grasp on multiple characters for each role. And I just think like this team for Sumter is just so special. Exactly what you said. They're not a team that you really need to watch over. They have a lot of passion, and that really shows when they play as well.
I agree 100%. So I'm looking forward to seeing them
Hmm.
continue on this. We're gonna go back, I'm sure, and kind of watch this, and I might give them a little bit of downtime for spring break to enjoy that. As long as they get some VOD in one more day this week, we might give them some days off. But
Maybe
overall,
you'll allow it.
yeah, maybe we'll allow some kind of enjoyment, right? Um, but overall, like what I see, super excited, and yeah, hopefully next week come back with the uh, same willpower and make things happen.
Hmm.
Again, though, look at Poppy with tons of assists. It's just wild
Yeah,
coming from your other DPS. That just means your
that's
DPSs are really putting in the work.
yeah, and that storm I think also gives a damage boost, so like that's really helpful as well.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
making sure really keeping up Ume and all of them
Yeah.
really helps the tanks out too. So yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Yeah, that Storm play tonight was really good. I enjoyed watching
Hmm.
that. Always like Storm, and I think it's very valuable to have Storm in the game. But
Yeah,
yeah, Fire Ants win 3-0, and I think we're done for the night. So anything you want
totally
to say
done.
before we close it out?
No, totally great game to watch. Excited to be back this week finally,
For
and
sure.
yeah, to see excited to see how they progress next week.
And hopefully it's continuing down victory lane, but Fire Ants do close out. We'll have some more Call of Duty tomorrow. Wednesday off, Thursday Valorant, Friday maybe some Call of Duty Warzone and stuff too. So got some more things headed this way, but also going to try to give players breaks or at least some remote practice and things like that. So everybody else out there, enjoy your night, and we're going to close it out from the Anthill. So this is Coach Chris.
And I'm Izzy.
You guys have a good night. See you later.
Have a good one.